Hi everybody, this is Diane. I'm working hard on my Kate Greenaway journals today. I already showed you the covers that I decoupaged the Kate Greenaway images on. This one is June and this one is August. I had asked if you thought I should leave the months on here on the front or cover them with lace or something. And some of you said one and some of you said the other, but I think the majority of you have said to leave them on. So maybe that's what I'll do. We'll see. So what I have done so far is, once I Mod Podged the cover, which is all I had done when you saw it last, and I had selected papers, but I hadn't cut them or anything. So now they are cut and they are collated into 3 signatures per book. And I stenciled on the white pages. So I did the boring stuff, the cutting of the paper and the stenciling. And then I sewed some lace onto a couple of the edges of each signature. And I added fabric flips, and each signature either has a fabric flip or a cluster or something sewn into it. I think that's all I've done in the pages. So now what I want to do is make some ephemera. Now the journal kit that I'm using is from Studio 28E, and it comes with a lot of ephemera, but I have this book and I'm using some of the pages as pages, and some of these were put on the cover, but then there are all the pages that have these smaller images, and I'm using them as pages and also cutting images out, and I want to make ephemera with them. So I will probably use some of the digital ephemera, but not all of it, I'm sure, because I do want to use the images from my book. So I have made 2 prototypes of 2 different ephemera pieces. So I think each journal will get 2 of these. So one in 2 signatures, and then the 3rd signature will get 1 of these. And unless I come up with something else, a 3rd pocket, and then it would just be one of each in a journal. You know what I'm saying? I want each signature to have a fun pocket like this. So it depends on how many pocket ideas I come up with. But these are the 2 I have right now. We're going to start with this one. It is a glassine bag, and I saw something similar to this on Pinterest. So I thought, well, I've got glassine bags, I've got sheet music, I've got doilies, and I will just add my own tag. They had something different in their pocket, and I'll add one of my Kate Greenaway images. So that's what we're doing today. So I started doing this video once and then I had to change my battery. So I have one bag inked and then the piece of music glued on, but I might make a few of these to put, I'm collecting some homemade ephemera that I can put into bundles in my shop, and that will be a while down the road because I'm pretty busy with flea market stuff. So don't be looking for the homemade ephemera real soon, but it'll happen. I'm just slowly collecting things. So I think I'll make a few extra of these bags like this. All right, so I took my bag, which is 4 inches by 6.5, counting this top part, 6.5 inches. And these are in my shop. I have a few sets left. And I took a piece of vintage sheet music, and I chose the kind that is dense with notes. It has a lot of notes in it. And I cut that 3.5 inches wide and then long enough that it can wrap around. It doesn't have to wrap all the way around because this part isn't going to show. As long as it covers the front and then wraps a little bit around, that would be good enough. And then I inked that part. So I'm going to glue it, and I want to use my Fabri-Tac. Remember the issues I was having with this Fabri-Tac? Well, somebody had sent me this years ago, and I never used it, and then I didn't know where it was. So when I wanted it, I figured it was long gone, but I found it. So I poured glue into here, and it does come out, and it's very, very fine, and I have to squeeze really hard to get it to come out. So I used that to put some lace on my other project and on my doily here. I used it on my doily, which was great. But my hand hurts by the time I'm done because I have to squeeze it so hard. But someone else had suggested ordering some of these from Amazon, and it's American Crafts. It says Sweet Sugar Bell. I think these are made for frosting. And I do have to get a stainless steel pin to put in there. This is just whatever sewing pins I have. I don't think they're probably stainless steel. So this will rust if I don't get stainless steel. So this is what I'm going to use right now. And I like it. I used it to put this on and it was really easy. So here we go. I'm just going to put my Fabri-Tac. I'm using Fabri-Tac because I think that sticks better to the glassine. So that's easy enough, right? I already inked, did I say that? I already inked the bag and I inked the music. So now I'm going to take a vintage doily. I think this is, let me see how big it is. It's a 4-inch doily. A slightly bigger one, 6-inch might be good, but I don't know if I have a 6-inch. I don't have a 6-inch, oh wait, what's this one? Oh, this one is a little bigger. It's 4.5 inches. Let's try that one. It's not coffee dyed, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. It's a little bit bigger than this one. So I'm just going to put a little ink on it. And again, the back of this bag is going to be glued down to the page, so I could just leave enough to wrap around the back and save this for collages. So I'm going to take this one with the fine line and add some glue to this. Is it coming out? Yep, it is. And I'm squeezing hard. But this is good because you get minimal amount of glue on, so when you put it on, it's not going to ooze out all over through the holes. Let's try that. Whoops. Okay. And the next part's pretty easy. I have my Kate Greenaway images here. Let's put this one on. She's small. You can see the doily better. And I have my yarn, or whatever it is. It's a variegated string, and it came with a craft, probably from Stampin' Up! In one of the card making kits that I got, which obviously I didn't use this, but it's a nice soft string. So I can either tie this over the image or put the image over the string. I put this over the image here, and I think I'm going to put a dab of glue there so it doesn't keep shifting. But when I tied this on, and then when I laid this image over it, it just covered up all the string. So That's why I'm going with a smaller image here. But I think I will put this one on top of the string. So I am going to tie a knot. I tried it with a bow on the first one and I didn't like that. So I just left it in a double knot with some threads hanging. Whoops. Trying to keep it from getting too loose. But I am going to put a dab of glue under the knot, so that'll help hold it in place. Plus with this one I'm going to glue the picture down over the knot, or over the string. Let's just put a dab under here. I'm just going to ink around the edge of this one a little bit. And I think I can just use tacky glue here because I'm not trying to adhere that to glassine. It's paper on paper. Okay, now I just need to make the tag to go in the bag. So I have my tag, and it is 3 by 6 1/4, and it's just the right size to fit in this bag. It must be this bag is only 6 1/4. I said it was 6 1/2. So I did a background stamp on this, and it's quite dark, but the ink pad I used, I didn't realize that it was, I thought it was an old ink pad, and then I realized it's one of the newer pads, although it's not new to me, it's probably several years old, but I don't use it that much. But it's still pretty wet, so I pushed down too hard and put too much ink on it. You can see how wet that pad looks just by tapping on it. This is the Stampin' Up! Inks, and they are dye inks, but they're on more of a foam pad than a felt pad, and they're very juicy. I don't know if it matters, but this is the right side because the logo's at the bottom. I used Mossy Meadow ink. Well, it didn't leave a very good image in the center, but that's going to be covered anyway. And I am just going to put a little more ink at the bottom. And I have to let it dry because that wet ink is sitting on that manila, which doesn't absorb as quickly as paper, but it's drying pretty quickly. So while we're waiting, I can pick out an image to put on it. Let's look at all the images I have cut here. That might be nice. It's a nice big one. And now I just need to put some seam binding in it. Sorry, I was looking at my camera because I don't think I have it on record. On the movie camera, I have it on taking photos, but quality might not be as good. Because it's still making a movie, but it's not on the right setting. I thought I used to have some, like a moss green, forest green seam binding, but I don't think I have it anymore. So let's use that tan. I used brown in the other one, but that was the last piece of brown I had. I can take my white and color it different colors, but I don't want to do that right now. I get messy when I do that. This has the folds, so I'm going to crinkle it up, and if I need to, I can take it back out of the tag and wet it, and that will take care of those creases. Okay, so this project is done. So I will glue this onto a page, and you can pull the tag out and write on the back. So there's one for each journal now. So let's move on to the second project I wanted to do today, which is a library pocket. I made my own library pocket using the Tim Holtz faded wallpaper, worn wallpaper. I love these cards so much that I bought another one. It was only $3.99, and I think I got it on one of their 40% sales. And so that one's not even open yet. So I figured it's about time I start using this. I mean, I have used it because you can see my scraps. Some of these scraps are from what I cut today. But I love that worn wallpaper pack. So this is the first one I made, and I chose a pink scrap of cardstock to make the little pocket part, and then just added one of my images, and then I have some library cards, and I added some homemade paper, handmade paper, and another image and some lace. So that's pretty easy too, but we need to construct the library pocket. So I started already by cutting my pieces, and then I selected and I inked my library cards, and I selected scraps of cardstock that I can make the pocket portion with. Now this one, I cut it to fit across, and then with a 1/2 inch on each end to fold over, but I didn't add anything to the bottom, so it's just glued straight down, and it worked fine. I was thinking maybe after I cut it, I was thinking maybe I should have made it to fold over, but that just would have increased bulk unnecessarily, because it works fine. I used this to add the glue to the bottom so it wouldn't smush up and take up a lot of space. So this pocket I cut 3 inches deep, and I like that, so we're going to go with that. The tag is, what did I say, 3.5. So first let's cut this 3 inches deep. Might as well do it to all of the pieces that I have out, so I don't have to think about what I'm doing every time. Oops, that didn't cut. And I wonder if this is deep enough. Well, it's shy of 3 inches, but we're going to use it. So now the card is 3.5 inches, so then I need to go to 4.5 inches so I can have a 1/2 inch on each side. But that didn't quite work when I made this. I needed it to be, you need to have a little bit of space, so then I ended up shaving off a very skinny piece off of each side of that card. So I'm at 4.5. I'm going to take it to 4 3/4 and see if we can make that work. I hope I can, because I'm going to cut them all that way. That piece must be thicker. I'm having a harder time cutting it. Right. Now I'm going to use my scoreboard and so on the other one I used, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch on both sides, and there should be, it should be a little bit wider once I fold in those 1/2 inches, because I cut this 1/4 of an inch wider. So let's see if it's, I want to make sure it's not too wide. Oh, that works great. There is wiggle room there. Okay, so let's score the other pieces. Now I have my 1 1/4 inch punch. I'm going to punch a little notch. And I'll take my little scissors and just widen that a little bit. I'm going to cut that tight curve off and make it a more shallow curve, I guess is what you would say. You don't have to do that. It's not necessary. You don't even have to have the thumb pull. There's not usually a thumb pull on a library pocket. Okay, so they're set. Now, this goes with this one. It's too bright, isn't it? So you know what comes next, and that is vintage photo. I did have to really go through the book and try to find horizontal oriented pictures. So I did find some. This will look on this dark. Does a little something for it. Now, these are my landscape pictures, so that one fits on nicely. There's a green one for the green card, and that one. This has a red border around it, so I don't think I'm going to ink that. I think it's fine the way it is. You could do more embellishing on these, add lace, put something behind. You could stamp a background script or something on the cardstock before you glue the image down. But I'm adding this pretty library pocket or library card into it, so I think it's fine the way it is, but you know, do what you want. So now I need to attach it so that these wrap around, and because it is cardstock and a little hard to hold down with glue, I opted for this method. Just some double-sided tape, but you can do what you want. The Fabri-Tac 3-in-1 glue, whatever, that should work great. But I don't want the sticky tape on the bottom because the card will go down in there and then the card will get stuck on that sticky tape that never, you know, it doesn't dry like glue does. It stays sticky. Just a thin line of glue. And then I'll line this up so that there's this hopefully the same amount of space on both sides. So I could have made the card a little bit narrower. There's a little more space over on this side. I didn't line it up very evenly. So this card could have been a little bit narrower. I didn't need to add 1/4 of an inch because there's a little more space than it needs, but it's fine. So that card is done. Isn't it cute? Now I need to decorate my library card. So I'll look for another one of my images. This one's pretty. And I want to put some handmade paper behind it. I don't know if that's going to be big enough, and it's very thick. I am going to wet it so I can tear it. It's so thick I'll have to let it soak for a bit before I try to tear it. This is just a water brush. There's water in the barrel. So while that soaks, maybe I should do the back side too. I can work on the next piece. Made some mess with that glue. This one goes with this one. Isn't that pretty? Still doesn't want to tear. And once I get it torn, I don't think it's going to be big enough, but we're going to try because I like this color. I just didn't have a lot of green. Alright, let's just keep working. I don't know what that came with. Okay, there's that one, and that goes on this one. Let's see how we're doing with this. It just doesn't want to tear. Okay, it's going to have to do. Now I hope it works. It works better that way. I'll just glue them on and add a little bit of lace. I have this thin vintage lace. It is so pretty. That's what I'm using. I really like this bottle. I wish I'd known about that a long time ago, because I fight with those Fabri-Tac bottles even when the nozzle isn't so big. And I got a set of 2 of those bottles. Oh, I already cut a piece. Oh well, there's one for the next. Okay, so I just put a line across the top and then another line under it to help hold some of those points down. That one is Willful. That's the Willful child. Looks like a little piece is folded under, so I need to fix that. Okay, now it'll lay flat. And there we go. That wasn't so hard, was it? That goes right in there. And that one is complete. I need 2 more. And we've already started on them. We'll be done before you know it. I took some of my punches and punched out some of the images from the book too. I'll show you some of those. Maybe I can see it better if I do it this way. So now this side is bigger. Oh well. And now all we have to do is make the last two library cards. So these are some of the things I punched out with my punches. Oh, these aren't punched. These are cut. I had other punches. Here's one. And there's one. And a little oval. But that's not what we're doing right now. We are adding images to library cards. This one's cute. Oh, look at that one. Let's do these two, but they need to be trimmed a little. So I left this edge because I cut it out of the book, and I know that where I cut it isn't straight. So I left that black line so I can cut it straight. Then I'll have one straight edge to go off of. Now the other ones have a border around them. These two don't. These were just free-flying images. So they don't have a border. So I might need to... Oh, I'm going to back them with the handmade paper anyway, so that's fine. So this one goes, let's put this one on this pocket, and I wonder if a yellow would be okay because of that yellow flower. This is really heavy. I think this is heavier than that green was. It works, but we are going to add a little vintage photo to it. It especially distresses where the layer was torn off there. And I guess we better ink her too. And I'm going to round the corner on this. That looks nicer. I don't know if I need to buy new batteries for my camera, but I put this battery in just before I started filming because I started it once and the battery was flashing. So I just put this one in, which I just took out of the charger. It was sitting on my desk, but it was in the charger and I know it was charged. And it's flashing. And I've been filming for 40 minutes. It started flashing at about 35 minutes. So I don't know if it means I need to get new batteries. I have 3 batteries that I rotate. that, and add some lace to it. Oh wait, this was going in this one. One more. Can we do it before the battery dies? We are going to try. What's the other image that I cut? I don't think it was that one. Maybe this one. Well, if it wasn't, we're going to use it. Oh, maybe it was this. I think it was that. All right. It's going in this. So, I don't have any other dark green, but I have this one. I think that would be pretty and fresh. Oh, this is so much easier to tear. I added vintage photo to it on that card. Don't want it to look too fresh, right? Around the corner. There, we did it. So now I have 4 library pockets created with the Tim Holtz worn wallpaper and containing a library card and embellished with Kate Greenaway images. I didn't round the corners on this one, but it had that rectangular floral border, so I wouldn't have wanted to anyway. And we have 2 of the glassine bags with a tag. These were really fun, and I love them. I love the way they look. So all I have to do now is find a page to glue them to. I'm going to keep working. Yeah, I've got more time to work in here, so I'm going to keep working. I might turn the camera on and have another video for another day. But I'm very pleased with getting these done today. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next installment of the Kate Greenaway Journals. Bye!